actually curious what everyone's favorite musical genre is. So I'll start. Intentions for this call. I've been seeing a lot of really cool activity going through on the project in the last few days. Would love to see the Rinkeby deploy in action. Um, and make sure that we're moving towards the upgrade constantly. Distractions, actually fewer this week. I'm finally starting to feel like myself again. Yeah, thanks guys. And my favorite genre of music, actually, in the last couple of years, I never understood EDM or house until I went to a festival, and then I caught the bug. And so anyway, and I will pass it to Nuggin.
Yeah, well, I'll have to say my favorite genre would be classical music, since in the other half of my life I'm an aspiring opera singer. So there's that. But I'm pretty open-minded. I like jazz music. I like rock a lot. Progressive rock, great. Electronic music also. I've listened less, but I like it. I enjoy it a lot. So yeah, that's it. I'll pass it to Chewy.
Thanks, Nagan. I think I'll go with also like progressive rock. I really enjoy like metal. Also, it's not like an everyday kind of thing, but I really like it. And intention for today, just to think and no distractions. I'll pass it to Griff.
Yeah, I I really like political rap. You know, like people talking fast with political topics. In general, that's like my favorite music. But then, actually, the first thing that came to my mind is basically just whatever music my friends are playing. It's really hard to beat like when my brother's playing a song or when someone random is like Patrick, who's part of Raid Guild and made our die or whatever, he's like a dev in the space. He just whipped out a violin and just started going, and it was like, this is epic. You know, it's just hard to beat that. Uh, and intentions for the call, catch up on all the work that Sem and Paulo are doing. Holy crap, so much going on there. And also, I think Nuggin had some points about the convert that we probably want to just check in on. I remember, and I just noticed convert isn't really working, and just want to make sure that like, I mean, it's working, it looks great actually, but it doesn't, it's whatever it's connected to when you make the transaction, it fails. So just checking in on that. And I think that's it. I hope Sem has some fun show and tells, because I know that they've been killing it lately. So yeah, and distractions, I'm in an RV. You never know, someone could just knock on the door, that kind of thing. I'm on the street, so who knows what's happening. I'll pass it to Sam.
In regards of music, I think that I am those ones that don't have a clear stance they like. Probably it's a very mainstream thing. I just like music. It's not something that there is not but I don't like it enough in order to have a favorite genre. I have favorite artists. I like Daft Punk a lot. I like Lady Gaga recently, and things that in some way are unique and innovative in some way. I'd like to talk today about the EVM CRISPR Commons Swarm, about the next steps and problems that we have, and we probably should also talk about funds, new funding from TEC probably. Let's talk about that. And I think that it's enough. I will pass it to Septi.
Thanks, Sam. Yeah, for me, the music, I also love rap because I feel I always was so bad at music, but what I love about rap is the lyrics. Political, but also for, like everything, like life. Yeah, I love the lyrics of rap and a lot of artists. And yeah, for intentions of the call, sync, see the latest updates, and yeah, and I don't have any distraction. I'll pass it to Pab.
Hi. In terms of music, I think any kind of music that helps me get relaxed and focus in what I'm doing is probably stuff I will like. So, like, I've been listening a lot to Steely Dan actually lately.
Nice.
The what was the word you used? Like the hopes for today's call. I'm really just here to like learn what the Commons Swarm is all about and what you guys have been working on, and yeah, overall just learning. And I don't know if there was any other like category or thing before having to pass.
Nope.
Was there any other thing?
Intro question and intentions for the call. Oh, distractions if you have any.
Well, I'm in the middle of a trip, as in like I'm in somewhere else I don't live in, so that may be one. And I'll pass it to Mera Verde.
Thank you, Pab. Lately, I've been listening to Back on Handle, so Baroque, and 432 Hertz to get back into my heart center. And my intentions are to pivot to dev, which is like how I originally got into this and got like sidetracked 800 different directions. And my distractions are my own general twitchiness, as per usual. And Mount Manu, have you gone yet?
Not yet.
I'll pass it to you.
Thank you, Meta Verde. Yeah, I definitely see where Griff is coming from. I'd say my favorite genre is conscious rap with a tie with hard rock, like Led Zeppelin, White Stripes, Kings of Leon, when the first album, when they were like hair everywhere, that kind of thing. Also, I like Gesaffelstein, which is like a decadent type of house, like the type you would listen to if you go to like a bar that's frequented by vampires. It kind of feels like dipping your toes on the dark side without doing the 25 to life. So I like that type of like vibe. So those three, and intentions. Learning what the Commons Swarm group is doing. I mean, I'm doing user testing for params, and it's very tied to Commons Swarm. So I just want to know more about what it is that you guys do, so I can do my work better. And that's the intention. No distractions whatsoever. And I'll pass it to the new user who joined, which is Oxnocand. Which, some context, yeah, it's we're doing intentions, distractions, and your favorite genre of music, if any. Are you there?
It's all right.
Yeah. Okay. Hi.
Too shy.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see. Do we want to do show and tell at the beginning or the end of the call? The question to Sam, really.
I'm sorry. Which thing?
Just covering what you and Paolo have been able to accomplish in the last week.
Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. Probably it's interesting to have it at the beginning, so we have more context.
Okay.
On which is the current state of the thing right now, and we can discuss better which are the next steps and how we move from here. I will be quick. I will just share my screen.
Excellent. Thanks, Sam.
Okay, so the current state of things, we have this garden here that we performed commons upgrade. We already shown how a commons upgrade is. You don't see so much things here. Basically, it's installing a new agent, installing a new bolt, installing a new agent, which is a reserve, installing a bonding curve, installing migration tools, and configuring the permissions for every of those things. And finally, removing the permissions to dynamic issuance, so we don't have the issuance anymore, creating new tokens, and adding the collateral token, which is XDAI or wrapped XDAI, into the bonding curve, so it can exchange TEC by XDAI. So this is the transformation that we are doing on top of the TEC garden, in order to transform it into a common. So this is working. The vote is passed and enacted. Paulo did suffered a lot, but it was heroic from his part. It was like finally we have it, and then the next step, once we have this, let's say, receptacle, is to send the funds from a DAO which is similar to the one that we have right now, the funds, into these new gardens, right? So we have this migration tools application that has the migrate function, and you can create a vote in order to migrate all DAI from the bolts blah and blah to the new gardens thing. These are the bolts of the new gardens, and you can set up which is going to be the let's say vesting token of the new token created, and how much it's going to last. 9 months. As it is configured, is 3 months from the creation of the vote or execution of the vote. Probably it's execution of the vote, and 9 months. The token. So this is it. It's also working and it's enacted.
That's amazing. Just a quick question on this. With the rest, like, is that like when you vote, the 10% number is coming from like at the time the vote is issued, and then if people rage afterwards, then the rest just goes there?
When the vote is executed, no, it's exactly that. It's after the vote has been executed, people cannot rage quit anymore. But when it's executed, it calculates which is the 10%. So it's always going to be the 10%.
Okay, so it's 10% at the time of execution.
Execution, yeah. Exactly.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so
is it possible to make that a set amount instead, or I mean, as in like, is it possible without doing any work to make that a set amount instead?
You are killing me.
No,
Yeah.
I'm just curious. I'm not asking for work. I'm just asking how it's set up. Trying to understand.
Well, it could be possible, I guess, because we could have. It's a little bit more of work. It would be 2 actions instead of 1, but all the work was. It took a lot of work to do this 10% at the moment of execution. Because
I'm just trying to understand 4 parameters so that we can match whatever is here better, you know?
Yeah, what it's here is, let's say that the 10% is the commons tribute. It was a percentage, and it's the one that is going to the common pool, whatever it is the funds of the total funds of the commons when people has already rage quit. So I agree that maybe it would be better if it was a static amount, but all the time was we were thinking on having this percentage because it was a kind of tribute, right? And we were thinking on having this as a percentage, let's say.
Yeah. And then, but so what I'm seeing here is that the opening price might actually be changed based on if people rage quit.
Yeah, exactly.
You're breaking up, Sam.
Exactly. Sorry. Let's see if I can connect in some other way. Wait a sec. Do you listen
Blue
to
is
me?
usually the yeah. Blue, try. Are you upstairs or downstairs?
Downstairs.
Oh, huh.
Maybe
Yeah, I
it's
don't know.
the sound. I don't know. Do you listen to me better?
Yeah, this is better.
Okay. I just changed the Wi-Fi. Okay, so does it work for you? I will not change this part.
It
And
would.
it's
I mean, I think it would just be interesting to think about how exactly we want to set it. If we want to set it so that the bonding curve collateral is set in place and the conviction voting piece is the like variable. If people rage quit, effectively they're just stealing from the conviction voting. Or do we want to set it? I mean, this is probably the right answer where it kind of affects both. But then, yeah, it'll just be interesting. Variables, you know?
yeah. Well, let me think on it a little bit. I will come back to you later, probably,
I have a
because
question.
we can also.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's isn't like if the rage quit is affecting like the common pool and the reserve ratio, it wouldn't be beneficial to, when we have the params. Yeah, I guess it's not possible because people will still be able to rage quit, but ideally it wouldn't affect at all. Like the percentage shouldn't be affected. Maybe less percentage goes to each pool, but in my mind at least it would be better like if we respect the percentages of the parameters we choose. I don't know if that's possible, but yeah, I think that would be super cool.
Well, what things will be possible? We can add more actions in this box. So, in the first actions, we can just transfer dice into the reserve, a specific amount of dice, and then we just transfer the 100% to the common pool, and this 100% is going to be the rest of what's left in the vaults. So that will be enough. Both things can be done.
And I think what I have to do on the param side is make sure that that there's a hefty percentage that's set aside for just in case that rage quit happens, and then all of that amount just goes as a buffer to positive towards the conviction voting pool, as opposed to pulling away, right? So we have it set so that there's that there's extra money in the conviction, more money than expected in the conviction voting pool as opposed to less.
Yeah, I guess so.
And I can set that as a default in the params.
Okay. Okay. So this is let's continue. This is working. So the dice are in the new gardens. The problem that we have is that the interface is yet not adapted. So we have to work on that. We have to add die as a request token for the garden. We have to work on this the next weeks. It's just a front-end change, so it should not take so long. But it's one of the issues that we have to work on. The rest is working properly. Let's say that there is just one issue with that I can explain now. During the last week, we have been working on an extra feature to that, which is the parameters of the permissions. So a permission normally it's somebody who has permissions over somebody else and has a specific permission. So for example, the bonding curve has permission over the reserve in order to transfer funds. So it can transfer, but it can also burn and mint tokens from the token manager, right? And if you see this, you can see like a kind of graph in which each application has permissions over the rest of the applications. And this is normally the way that you create this, but you might want to add some restrictions in order to in the permissions. So here is where it enters the parameters, which is the fourth line here. We are using this oracle, but we could be using something else actually. The oracle, what it makes is to ask migration tools if we can create a vote or not. This is important for the security, because if it is not present, then the first who claims tokens in the new DAO could create a vote in order to withdraw all the funds into another account without the rest of the people being able to vote. So actually there will be less that could dispute this vote, but it is something that we don't want to happen, so we can just add this oracle and ask migration tools if the migration has been completed. This is what it is for. And we have extended this. It's not about asking an application if we have the permission to create votes or not. We can also add so many conditions into this. This is something very new that Aragon had, but it was super. Nobody used it because it was very difficult to use. And we during this week we have been working on making it much easier. So we created some functions. Let's say we have the AND, we have the OR, we have the IF, for example. So now, if you have, for example, also the block number. So now the interesting thing is that you can add here different parameters. So for example, you want that the oracle allows you to do that, but you also want that the block number is higher than a certain number. So you can write block number greater than, and here you put the block, for example, this block, and then you can say, okay, I want one thing or the other. I add an OR. and that's it. Instead of this or, you may want to have both of them, and that's it. And maybe you want that if both of them are happening, then you can do something else. And if so, you can write here something else. For example, check out another oracle. And if not, you can check for another block number. Let's say there was block number and timestamp as well. I think that it was timestamp. Now I'm not sure. Maybe not. And there are many things that you can do. It's like you can ask for that you want a specific block number, a greater than, a less than, greater or equal, or less or equal. And well, we just extended this language that Aragon had, but was super difficult to use, into this thing, so you can now create things that are way more complex than usual, and it is just here in the CRISPR in order to be used. The only problem that we have found is that for the thing that we wanted to use it all the time, which is the oracle, there was a bug in Aragon 4.3 that prevents using oracles in Byzantium blockchain, in the Byzantium fork. And Will Griff already fixed that for the 4.4, but the current Aragon applications that there are right now in XDAI, it uses the old contracts. So we have to check it out, maybe update the applications in order to be capable of using this oracle. It's something that we have already talked with Gabi, and he agrees that that will be a good move. In the case that we don't do that, we could also do something like block number greater than, equal, and the block number that it's 1 week after the migration. So we will not be able to create any vote after 1 week, and that will fix it. We will see what we do. Right now, it is just always failing. It should only fail when it is failing like this. Voting cannot forward. It should only fail when the migration has not completed totally, but it fails now always, which is a very, very bad thing. Right now, this DAO is bricked because it is cow voting is not working anymore, and it cannot update any DAO as well. So it's the worst scenario for this test DAO, that the funds are in here, but the only way that you can remove them is by conviction voting. We don't want that to happen. So maybe we don't go that way into the oracles, and we just do something more simple, because I have to say that this particular permission into the create votes is a little bit tricky. We should take a lot of care not to break this create vote permission. So we are in this point here. Let's say that we have advanced a lot with the migration tools ACL Oracle, but we still we have this new things that are going on with the Aragon, the version of the Aragon that we are using, and we have to check out that it is completely functional before we apply this. So that's it from here. Next steps then will be fix this Aragon version or find another way. The second thing will be make the interface, adapt the interface in order to be able to use XDAI. The third thing will be this new bonding curve, connect it with the convert, which is something that you were already talking about, Nugan. And once we have all of this, we will have the first version of the Commons upgrade ready, and we could focus on the voting aggregator. That it might change a little bit some parts of the template in order to be able to create governance tokens for both Tau voting and conviction voting. So that will be the update from this front. You can also see here the transaction with the migration going on. It's sending funds from the vaults into the new vaults and splitting the vaults that if one vault has more funds than the ones that it has to receive, it sends it to the other one.
Nice. That's great, man. Well, looks like a lot of learnings. Do we have like a list of all these things that we need to do, like update gardens, and there's just a lot that you just said.
Yeah, it's they are these three things that we have to focus first, and then we can work. Once we have these three things, the convert thing also involves checking out Sokai feedback and fix the bonding curve contract, which I will do this starting today. Move into this front, and the other things can wait a little bit, because probably Gabi or Luke can redeploy Aragon. If they cannot do it, or they find that it's risky for some reason, then we can just change the strategy. Now with CRISPR is very easy to do whatever we want with this. There is also something else that it's interesting. We were having problems with the indexes of the applications. So when we were migrating, every time that we were creating a new vault, the order of the vaults were changing because of how the graph is processing the events. So this was also fixed during this week, and this is what the last week we were so let's say desperate. We don't know what's going on. And it was like something that was kind of crazy, because every time that we were testing, it was changing it was just changing the order of the applications, and the vaults were completely wrong. It was sending funds to the common pool when it should have been the other vault. I mean, it was so fucked up. And the way that we solved that was by reconstructing all the applications of the kernel installed to the kernel, all the instructions, all the applications, you can know which address they are going to have, and that's fantastic. I mean, it is very easy to do. It's very fast, and then you can have an order of the order of the application, and this is made with some Solidity trick in order to know which is going to be the address of the new applications that you are going to install based on the nonce and the kind of application that you are going to install, the repo, let's say, the new contract, all the parameters that you are going to send to the kernel. That's a super cool thing from Solidity.
This is exciting.
We also want to advance with the EVM CRISPR in order to, because this version here, the how things are here, we want to change them in order to have some more readable thing, but it's part of something else. We probably it is something that is an outcome of the Commons Swarm, but we probably are going to continue this independently after the Commons upgrade is made, and it's going to be part of Gardens at some point, because it can be used for any kind of garden, not only for Commons. And the idea is that we can have, as I already explained someday, you can have some kind of language in which you say, okay, I want to install this app and then I want to give permissions, but without all of this, it should be much easier to read and understand. And this is some work that we are also going to do probably during the next weeks, but it's not really important for the Commons upgrade. It's some kind of side work, and I think that this is covering everything that we were talking about. The hook voting aggregator, it still needs the tests. It is not clear if that's going to work perfectly, the current version that we have. I still have to check out completely how it's going to work. The fear that I have is the gas. If that exceeds the gas, then maybe we won't be able to use it, or use some kind of other stuff. Maybe staking the tokens instead of, if it's not.
What do you mean, it's exceeding the gas limit?
Yeah, the problem is that with the normal hooks, the gas is already high and sometimes fails, and it's a pain in the ass. And in this case, we will have a kind of double hook. Well, it's not exactly a hook, but kind of. It's an extra call, an extra contract. So maybe it's even worse in terms of gas, and I don't know if it's going to. It's some untested tech, let's say. So
When you say you're running out of gas, is that on Rinkeby or like your hard hat ganache console, or?
No, yeah, it's going to be when people is, let's say, doing transactions with TEC, any kind of transaction. It's the commission voting has to test if those tokens are staked in the commission voting, and that's quite. It's the design that we have right now, but it's not a very good sign because you can be doing any kind of transaction with TEC. Actually, it's also happening to Honey or any Gardens token. It is testing all the time that you are transferring if those tokens are supporting a proposal in order to remove that support when you are transferring. That's kind of important because if not, you are breaking too much.
We can hear you if
In the transfer function where you can just say, really? Really?
we hear you now. At the end it was good. Oh, it's bad again.
So is it possible a hard? Oh shit.
Good now.
Okay, I'll talk. I'll chat it. I'll chat it. Is there a way to hard code the gas estimated gas amount into the transfer function?
Yes, it is possible. The problem that we have here is that you have to add this into each application that is going to use TEC. So we could do this trick in HoneySwap, for example, because we control HoneySwap and many Garden tokens are going to be traded in HoneySwap. That will fix in a lot many of the problems that these hooks have, but it is not a solution that will fix everything. So I am talking right now without knowing. Let's see it implemented, and once we have it, we can decide which solution to take.
Do this. Yes. The estimated so that and the player.
Sorry, Griff.
Okay.
Manu's got it down. Sorry, Griff. Okay, I'm a little bit torn because I think Griff has an important question. Can't quite hear from him. We also have a few other things.
It's okay. No, you can pass it. Yeah,
Okay.
keep going, keep going.
Okay. But you're fine now. If you want to try again.
No, it's okay. I'll talk
Okay.
afterward. I can talk with Sem later.
Okay. So Nuggin has some points on convert that he wants to share.
Yeah, actually, it's just asked us a couple of questions that Santi made, and I passed them yesterday to the params group, and I just wanted to go through them right now pretty fast. It's small stuff just to double check. The first one, is there going to be anything the users would have to do with the wallet when interacting with the bonding curve apart from the normal approved token and the allowance? Just because I think no, but maybe.
That's interesting. Maybe one of the things that we were thinking that it would be nice to have, but not really important, is to implement the permit into the bonding curve, because the Minimi has already the permit. I don't know if we also have to allow it into the DAI, for example. I don't think that DAI has the permit thing. But as it is right now, yes, the only thing that people has to do is the approve and press the other button. There is no other thing. It's not like unstake or unstake a Garden token. And maybe we can also do this permit thing, which is a nice thing to check out.
Mm-hmm.
We will see.
Okay, but for now, I can just go back to Santi and say that only the approve.
Okay. I'd like to work on the bonding curve during this week, So if you want to, we can. If you are interested in keep working with the convert, we can focus on this. I will be mostly with the smart contract, but the convert may also have two issues that were not really important but would be nice to have. I think that you had one assigned, I don't remember well.
Yes,
But-
it kind of fell back with the whole dashboard stuff, but I wanted to get back to that also. So great.
And let's see how we can improve this, especially because Shokai replied with a lot of interesting stuff, and I just didn't have time to look at this, but it's super interesting, and I don't want to spend so much more time. I just want to check at it and reply to it. So that will be the priority for this week. Let's try to fix the bonding curve. And meanwhile, we see how the Aragon version is fixed. And if it's not fixed, we will see next week how to fix the script. That's it. I think that we are way more close to the goal. And the problem is that the work does not stop, because there are every time there are new things to do. For example, the hooked voting aggregator. I was thinking on asking for funds for this. There is also something else that it's important to say. We are almost out of funds in Commons Swarm. So please, if you have any hour left that you have to pass, especially you Bradley, pass it now so we can pay everyone. And the rest of the honey that is left, I don't think it's leftovers. We will see how we can fund the Commons Swarm until the end of the Commons upgrade, because right now it's going to be just one honey in it. It's very little amount of money.
I can make sure it gets funded with honey.
Okay.
Unless, do we want to? I guess the question is, or do we want to move to XDAI in it, as opposed to playing with the volatility?
We could. One of the things that I was thinking was just doing a proposal to TC, or even add an extra line in the Commons upgrade, which would be payback Commons Swarm. I don't know. That will be like an extra, or just do an independent proposal, like some more support for funding Commons Swarm.
There's some challenges there. I mean, maybe we do retroactive funding potentially from the Commons Swarm for the Commons Swarm, but because there is like this legal protection that the Commons Stack is providing, and there's also a little bit of a legal buffer that we're trying to put between us and the TEC. It might not be in the best interest of the Commons Stack to directly ask for funding from the TEC for the Commons Swarm work. But I'll make sure to cover it.
Okay. Let's talk then about that. Yeah, it's only one honey left, so we have to at least think how to pay people. Okay.
I guess the big question is, should we go to stable tokens as opposed like XDAI straight as opposed to honey?
It will be nice. Yeah, why not?
Cool. Then let's go that route, and I'll source funding.
Okay.
Unless anyone else has any funding ideas, of course, I'm always open.
The Gitcoin is it's not. There is not enough funds there. If this is not an option at the moment. Maybe in the future, but not at the moment. I will just say let's keep working and I don't know. I don't know. We are at the end of the road actually. One of the things I was asking, I was thinking to ask actually is for the hook token manager. Hook voting aggregator. It will not be an option either. Steve?
I think it's easier to. I just think it's better to ask directly from the common stack, and then maybe later, 6 months or so afterwards, the TEC could decide to pay. But there's this legal strategy of just
Okay.
not getting money from the TEC. So like, and since the other legal strategy is this is common stack work and it's protected by the Common Stack Association, it's just like there's these weird legal buffers that are probably better to just leave alone.
Okay.
Griff, I'm really curious to learn more about that at some point.
The legal buffers?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the best is just to check out the Commons, the trusted seed terms and conditions in the trusted seed dashboard. Member.commonstack.foundation, and they're there right there on IPFS, and it just kind of says like, oh yeah, all the people building, it's happening under the Common Stack Association, you know, and then the other side is just like, the TEC is launching a token. It has no legal entity, and we are just pretending that it's launching it. Well, I'm sorry. The TEC is launching itself, and it says so in its own terms, and it's just a completely independent thing that's using the Common Stack pattern. So that's like that's the idea.
Gotcha. Interesting. Okay, so it sounds like we covered the funds, which was also another item on the agenda. Did we cover everything about the convert that Nuggin wanted to go over?
No, there were just two small things, but it should take 2 minutes. First, just confirming that we don't plan to add any more wallets apart from MetaMask. I know we have Frame there, but it's out of the scope to just add some wallet connect or something for now, I guess.
I think that Wallet Connect is not compatible yet with XDAI. Probably Minerva is, but we don't provide support for Minerva yet.
Okay.
I think Wallet Connect is not supporting XDAI.
Okay, just MetaMask for now. It's okay. Just wanted to make sure.
MetaMask and probably Frame. Frame would be nice too.
Yeah, I think Frame is already in, but yeah, but most users will use MetaMask. So
yeah.
And the other thing is that Santi asked if there will be a little button to add the TC token to MetaMask on the site itself, which I think it's not there right now, but could be a good thing to add. So
okay.
maybe open an issue and we'll just work on it and see if we get it sorted. I think.
Okay, let's do that.
Great.
Maybe it will be even cooler if it's in the pop-up of transaction created. I don't know if it's a good pop-up or not. Maybe it's just a notification. If it's a notification, maybe not. But if it's a pop-up, it will be better because it's how Uniswap it does it. If you just exchange it and obtain the token, then is when you can add it. In order to not
change the layout.
Yeah. Not the layout, but the user flow. You want first people to exchange it, and after they have it, then they can add it to MetaMask, not the other way.
Yeah, it sounds great.
So, Sam, I want to make sure I understand you. It looks to me like Wallet Connect does support XDAI, but is there some nuance that I'm missing?
Okay, that's cool. Then we could add Wallet Connect if that's something that it's interesting. I didn't know. By the time that we were using it.
Sure. I mean, I just looked when you said it because I'm a big fan of Wallet Connect lately. So.
Okay. Yeah, the only wallet that was supported back then was only MetaMask, and then we added Frame.
Gotcha.
I don't know if. Let me check. We can talk about that probably. It's but we don't. Wallet Connect is not. No, I'm sorry. Wallet Connect is not supported by Aragon.
Ah, okay.
Or not yet, at least. I mean.
Yeah. Okay.
If that's, let's say that if that's not a hard requirement, I will not go this way.
Does Aragon support onboard JS, or it uses its own wallet onboard JS type system?
Onboard JS, the four wallets that it supports for sure is MetaMask, Frame, Fortmatic, and Portis. And maybe more. I mean, I don't really know, but those are the ones that Aragon officially supports.
It's just weird because it looks like onboard JS, which is like a library that allows you to add lots of different wallets, but it might be just following their pattern and be an Aragon specific thing. I don't really know.
Yeah, I think that they use a library by their own called Use Wallet, and I think that they had more support for other wallets, but because I never tested them, I cannot know. There are some documentation over there. Well, I think that's. Is there anything else that we want to?
One other thing on the agenda was just BrightID Live is the note. I don't quite know how to interpret that.
Oh yeah, this was a quick question, and I think it's worth following. BrightID just launched their garden on XDAI, and it'd be good to watch it and hear if there's any issues with it.
Yeah, totally.
Has anyone heard of any issues with BrightID?
I think they didn't do a big use of the garden. There is many people who is wrapping their tokens and staking on the abstain proposal, but there are not proposals yet. We will see what people does.
Yeah, that's because they said that if you stake the tokens, you get some rewards, but the rewards aren't live yet. Like the interface doesn't show them, but so everybody's staking there, hoping that some reward comes, and they don't know how much they're going to get, so they are just doing it.
There are some rewards. It's part of Garden's framework. Any garden that uses an external token has a contract that does some rewards in that same token for the people. One of the things that we have validate this contract. I guess that this is the issue, that the contract of the rewards is not validated. We have to check it out.
Okay.
Okay, I'm late for another call, guys. I'm sorry I have to run. Thank you for the great call.
I also want to throw a reminder, like Juan was telling me, in 24th of September, it's the vote for the governance. Like it affects the Commons Swarm, so yeah, just check it out.
Thanks,
Okay.
Sam.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.